and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Apex Greatness. I am your host, Russell Broderick. That is your other host, Dario Albuquerque. Off the camera is the fairy pod mother, Lindsay Lehman. How are we today?
We're doing fabulous.
Doing great.
We're going to do something that we've been dying to do on this show for weeks now. We started doing our podcast based around, players of the past, mostly because there was no basketball being played.
Yeah.
So now that the basketball gods have granted our wish and given us this amazingly awesome bubble, basketball is back, and we're here to talk about the dramatic finish of the 2020 NBA season. So, without any further ado, the first teams we're going to discuss are the two teams in question that we're looking at right here on your screen. We're going to start with the Rockets. Dario, if you anything to go
so with the Rockets, there's a very weird theory floating around, or at least my friend showed me a very weird theory about the Rockets, and I would just like to talk about it on the podcast, bring it to you guys' attention, and see what you guys think about this, and if you think it's as crazy as I do. So, before I get into any of this, there's something called Gematria.
Okay.
And it's like the core thing that comes up with this Houston theory. And pretty much what it is, it's supposed to be this cabal number system. And like these people pretty much believe that numbers kind of like rule the world almost. So like everything associated that happens in the world, or at least big events, you can tie them into numbers. Okay. And I know it sounds very weird.
Yeah.
And at first I didn't believe this until my friend brought it to my attention when Kobe passed away. And at the time I definitely didn't want to believe this because, obviously it was a very painful time in my life.
Yeah.
But he was breaking it down to me and showing me how numbers tied into Kobe's death, and how he thinks that there's like some type of Illuminati there that kind of runs the world through numbers. So when he was first bringing this to my attention, he showed me. So the one, what was that one page you were on?
This page here.
Which with
page?
all the numbers.
With all numbers. Oh, I got you.
Oh no, actually, if you could pull up that one picture that I sent you.
Got you right now.
So what this is called the Gematrinator. The Gematrinator, and it's pretty much like you type in a word and then it populates numbers, and then those numbers are supposed to tie into something somehow, right?
Oh, hold on. Let me go to this website real quick. You said, what's it called? Gematrinator?
Gematrinator. On that.
So type in
Kobe being Bryant. Type in that. Perfect.
Wow.
Yeah, that's where. All right. So if you notice, these numbers don't mean nothing to us right now, right? But they mean something to Kobe.
Okay.
So 81. Everyone looks at 81 and they'll know exactly what that means, right?
Sure.
He dropped 81, obviously. So, but he has separate. So there's multiple things. So that 54, that's what when you type in Kobe being Bryant, it equals that number there. And 54 matters a lot in his career because the day before he passed away, you see how 81 is there?
Yeah.
LeBron James scored his 18th points, 81 reversed, to score the Lakers' 54th point of the game. Freaky shit, right?
Very.
So when he's bringing this to my attention, and I'm like, bruh, that's a coinky dink. Like shit like that happens. It's right there though. It's
No, I had the.
But no, it's Los Angeles at Philly. It's all the way. It's the fourth tab.
Oh, I knew I had it. I was bugging out. I was like, I fucking
So you see, LeBron James scores his 18th point and we could count up his points if we want, but it was his 18th point on for the 54th point of the game for the Lakers.
Yeah. And then they stop. He daps up. Kobe.
Yeah, exactly. So we look at that, and I'm like, all right, that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Then we go and look up. So it's supposed to be demony too. So for his 80, when he dropped 81,
yeah,
I know we can't look this up, but it was on his 666th game.
Really?
Of his career. Yep.
That's
and while scoring 66% of the team's points.
81 was 66% of the team's points?
Yep, because they scored 122 points and Kobe had 81. Now, the magic number is 41, right? Where Kobe's age of when he's died, right? So
so this
got, yep,
at 41.
Exactly. So he scores, and in some of the biggest games of his career or the most notable games, that 41 pops up a lot. So when he dropped 81, that day that he dropped 81, the rest of the team had 41 points.
Really?
Yeah, because
I guess that would make sense.
It was 120. Yep. Then when on his very last game of his career, dropped 60, right?
Yes.
And the rest of the team had 41 points.
Really?
Yes. In his final game at Utah, he left the court with 4.1 seconds left.
Yeah, this is.
So this is when you get the little goosebumps on your hands and stuff, and you're just like, this shit is fucking sketchy, and you think it's not real, but like, and I was telling my friend, a lot of this shit you could tie numbers into anything if you want to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right? But so this kind of made me be like, oh, like too many coincidences typically is, it means something. But I'm like, whatever. Maybe this Gematria thing could be true. So the only reason I'm bringing this up is because
hold on. I gotta count these points because this is
literally, bro. You could do 122 minus 81.
Oh yeah, that's right. Pardon me, audience. I'm dumb. What did you say?
122. The total minus Kobe's points.
22 minus 81. Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Now go to his last game at Utah.
I got it.
Already done. He had 101 points, and we know that he had 6. They had 101 points, and we know he had 60.
That's easier math.
So
crazy.
And then
okay.
And then if we go, can we look up? Can we go on YouTube real quick and look up his last game, like at least the last few minutes, and then just go all the way to the end and see when they took him out of the game?
Yeah,
so we could show. So that we could. No, we leave that. We need that YouTube page.
Oh, okay, my bad.
No, you're good.
It's like I'm going to need that.
Yeah,
this is all thing.
Because a lot of this shit continues to tie in. So how there's a lot of, and as you say doing the there's a lot of like Simpson shit where they predict shit beforehand.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, these people think that that's not a fluke that they do that they actually follow Gematria, and then they do it in front of our eyes to show how dumb their world is. Pretty much we're gonna do it in front of you, and you're gonna just think this is crazy. But in reality, we know exactly what we're doing, and we're telling you what it is beforehand. So, and I'll explain that in a second. Just go, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get exactly when he came out of the game.
Because it's right there. 4 minutes. 4.1 seconds. All right. So now, to fuck everybody's head up even more, you know how I just said the Simpsons thing? Kobe Bryant did a commercial years ago, if you guys remember. And this is the commercial, and you see that during the whole commercial, he's like the superhero, whatever, and then at the end of the commercial, he ends it by blowing up a helicopter
What?
with a basketball.
That's creepy.
And my friend brought this up to me and said this was a foreshadowing of his death.
But he didn't know that, obviously.
No.
Why?
Or he might have. They say that there's a lot of shit in between. Like, people know kind of what they sign up for and stuff like that. But yeah, this is I don't know if you remember this old thing where it's like Kanye's the boss and stuff, and then Kobe whoops a bunch of people's ass in basketball.
Oh,
I don't remember this.
Do you guys remember this?
I remember this, yes.
Yeah.
This is wild. This commercial's almost over, though. It's a long-ass commercial.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, it's directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I'll let it play from here because I'm very interested.
Yeah.
How does this tie into because the people, quote unquote, help them make this?
Yeah, they think that they follow this theory of like numbers tying into things, and they set it up so that everything ties into one another, or it ties in somehow through numbers. I don't know how it happens. I don't know why it happens, but
4.1. Watch, because now I'm invested. The last click that we see on that basketball is 4.1.
Pause it.
No, I saw a 0. I saw a 0.
I don't know, dude. It was pretty close.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was like 4.2 was the last thing that you saw there.
No, I saw a 0. I saw it go past 4.1.
Well,
all right. So either way,
on my screen.
Either way, all of this is supposed to tie in this way. So they try to say that they kind of do all this shit to like throw it in your face. This is what's gonna happen.
And
then later on, you just find like, wow, it's a coincidence. Kobe had a commercial about blowing up a helicopter, and then he goes and dies in a helicopter. Like, but it's just like they do it in beforehand. And you know how The Simpsons has like Donald Trump becoming president. What was there was other shit that happened. I think they do Kobe's death too. The helicopter death, The Simpsons. I think they did something like that. By the way,
The Simpsons have a bunch of shit from that. Yeah. That could be a whole different podcast.
So the Rockets tie in differently because of the way that I guess the numbers fall. It's not because of what you type in Gematria. It's because of the way the Rockets kind of lead up to like this current season. So the number that we're looking at here is the number 74 because this is the 74th NBA season.
Okay. So
the way they're working it is like the Houston area code is 713. Right. And then when you
it doesn't work if I type in Houston here?
I don't think so. I want to say Houston or James Harden is tied to Donald Trump because Donald Trump he turned 74 years old this year. So it's like connecting it through other things. I can't remember how my friend did that one because he didn't send me like a breakdown like he did for Kobe. But he did. He was telling me that the number that we're tying to is 74. So it goes from the 74th season. Houston's area code is 713. When you add up the 1 and the 3, 74. The Donald Trump becomes 74 years old this year, or turns 74 years old this year. And then when you put in, I think Donald Trump or Donald and James or Donald or Harden, like a lot of their numbers intermingle. Like it's a lot of, you see a lot of transposals and like stuff like that. So he was telling me he thinks that Houston is going to win the championship this year.
Right.
And from this whole process, first when he told me the Kobe thing, at the time, it's a month after Kobe passed. I'm still kind of a huge scar in my heart. And I'm just saying, you're just like trying to cope. You're trying to find a way to cope with Kobe's death. So you're trying to say someone, like you can't just believe it. And I understand that.
Yeah.
And because it was hard for me to like believe too.
Yeah.
But when he started bringing up this Houston thing, me at the time, this is in February. So I'm sitting down and he's telling me this. And I think I know a good amount about basketball. And I usually can tell more or less what team would most likely make it. It would be like, if I could think of a team, it would be like, I'll think of 3 teams and most likely one of those teams usually makes it, because it's like the NBA is not that weird where just super random teams make it all the time. So for him to say Houston, I'm like, you see, Houston wouldn't even be in my top 5 teams that would make it in both conferences. Like I would like at that time, because Houston was still trying to figure shit out.
Right now they're in the 4 seed.
I think they're in the 6.
6?
The last time I checked.
I don't doubt it.
But no, yeah, because of the way the standings work, and they just lost a game. They lost a game the game before Lakers, the Laker game. But whatever. So at the time, I'm just like, Houston wasn't figuring out. At this time, they just traded Capella. So at the time, Houston doesn't make sense at all. Yeah. And he's telling me he's gonna put a ton of money, like gambling money, on Houston. And I tell him, look, I would never put my money on Houston in that way, because he was ready to put $8,000. So it
crazy.
Was like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like me, even to this day, like I'm still kind of starting to believe it a little bit, but I'm like, I'm not putting 8,000. I'll put 100. But like, so we go as we go through the season. I see Houston start picking up. Westbrook starts wilding out. Yeah. Because he has an open lane. They start passing it. So basketball-wise, I'm still thinking at that time, Lakers are a way better team. We just saw what Lakers did to the Clippers and the Bucks in one weekend, and everyone just thought the Lakers are the best team in the NBA. So, like, at that time, you're thinking about the Lakers, you're thinking about the Clippers, you're thinking about the Bucks, you're thinking about even Boston, like, you're thinking about other teams. Because at the time, Jason Tatum, he was wilding out. I think he was averaging, like, 34 that month. The month of February, I want to say. Yeah. So, like, Houston's not even in anyone's like line of vision.
Sure.
And then a month passes, the quarantine happens, and then the shutdown happens. We don't see basketball until right now. Now, as things started going up, it like coming together, and we have those preseason games. You get the one game that Harden scores 30 and a half.
Yeah.
And you just see a prime James Harden and just wilding. And like it starts making me think, well, like could this be kind of true? And then I started hearing more people talk about it, because Houston started becoming a bigger deal as they saw James Harden going crazy, Russell Westbrook going crazy, and like in this bubble, even though they're 3-1 in the bubble right now, but they've been close games and they've won tight knit games against 2 pretty decent teams. They won against the Mavs, and then they won against the Bucks. Which
this game was just ridiculous. Yeah. It just feels like, continue. I want you to get through this.
No, yeah. So like as it's happening, I'm like, well, maybe it could kind of be true, because before the basketball, like I understood the numbers and shit that he was bringing up, but to me, basketball wise, it made no sense.
You sure?
But now when you cut out 6 months and you give all these players all this rest, and then now you have to have them just start basketball back up.
Yeah.
Now seeing what's happening with the Clippers, and we'll talk about the Clippers more. What's happening with the Lakers. Like you see a lot of shit happening, and it's like, well, I could see a little bit of how the Rockets would do this. And then we've seen 2 really tight games between Houston and like one game, like the game against the Bucks, who is the best team in the East, and they had every reason to lose that game. Statistically, if you showed anyone that stat sheet and like just hid like the names of the like the numbers and stuff, and then just showed stats and showed Giannis scored 38, 18 or whatever. The Houston missed 43s, like shit like that. Yeah. And like if you was to show that stat line, you would say, oh, Milwaukee blew them out, and then they lose by 2, and it's like shit, just little shit like basketball wise, it's starting to click, and then it's starting to make me think, oh, is this shit fucking true?
The thing that you were telling me about Harden and his numbers at the beginning of every season.
Yeah. So, and I remember thinking about mentioning that, and I forgot. So,
I got
usually within the first 3 months of the season, you could look it up. Harden usually has averaged.
He's been a historically hot starter.
Yeah, for the last 3 years, the last 3 seasons. So,
pretty much ever since he's been at Houston.
Yeah, pretty much. So, his thing is he usually goes crazy in the beginning of the season, and then he's dead at the end of the season, and then that usually fucks him. That's what a lot of people say about him in the playoffs, that he's usually just drained and tired. Sure. But now he just got a 5-6 month break, and he's back, and he's pretty much in the beginning of regular season form.
That's what I was about to say. It's the same amount of time. It's comparable in days. I think it's a little bit longer than it would be between 2 NBA seasons.
Yeah. So it's like you're most likely gonna get the best James Harden throughout these playoffs and throughout the rest of these games. He just dropped 39 on LA yesterday, or I think was it 39-41, some shit like that. So he's been wilding, and Westbrook is averaging 28 points a game still. So you can't have Harden averaging 35 and Westbrook dropping 28 and then thinking you're gonna stop. Like that's just too much points. I'm just looking at it and I'm like, basketball wise, I could see them get through and win this somehow, because Clippers aren't ready, I don't think, and Lakers aren't ready. So it's just like.
So this is actually what I wanted to talk about.
LeBron James didn't play yesterday.
No.
And also, I don't think the Rockets can beat a team with a competent big man.
I think the only team that they'll run into with a competent big man is LA, and the Lakers have been proven to have issues with perimeter defending. So you're gonna have, and unfortunately, the Houston Rockets have the 2 best perimeter players ever, or not ever, but right now.
Ever.
Yeah, my bad, not ever.
Here's my thing. Look at this. There's 2 minutes left in the game. This score is tied, pretty much. 3-point game.
Yeah.
This is the Rockets' game and their goal every game. They know that they are getting out rebounded historically, and I want to look at that because I want to get this box score up. Because this was the most interesting part to me, is they're getting completely dominated on the boards.
And they're playing a game of math. That's all they're doing.
They're completely playing a game of math. They lost to Portland, but I want to get this Milwaukee score. Here we go. So, total rebounds. 65 rebounds by the Bucks to 36 for the Rockets. Smash on the rebounds because they don't put a guy that's above 6'7" on the floor.
Do you have advanced stats right there?
Yes.
Can you look them up?
Yes. Hold on 2 seconds. I have a point. Okay. So they know what their faults are, and instead of trying to hide their faults, they're just leaning like heavy, like full body leaning into their strengths.
It's insane.
Like, it is insane. I've never seen anything like this. Because,
oh my God.
Like, look, Brook Lopez, right? This is a fantastic stat line for Brook Lopez. 23 and 12, right? 2 blocks, 12 rebounds from Brook Lopez. This guy doesn't have 1 season above 10 rebounds a game average, ever. Yeah. So he's not a rebounder, right?
Yeah.
He got 6 offensive and 6 defensive. Giannis got 18 rebounds by himself. These guys are all look. Even Chris Middleton, not known for his rebounding.
Yeah, and Giannis had a huge game. Like you look at that game, and it's like, is it's like a game that you expect your superstar to have and just win. Like if my superstar gets that has a game like that, I expect to win.
But I bring that up to say this. In this game, we're going to go back to the film in a second because I think it's important. Their goal in every game is with this amount of time left to make it that score. Tie game.
And
Because if they're in a tie game situation, they feel like at the end of these games, they force people into mistakes. And it's insane to me because this is a team that has been ridiculed for their defense historically, be it D'Antoni, Harden, Westbrook at times, even though I really don't think Westbrook's a horrible defender. But you had Westbrook make every free throw down the stretch of this game, right? He hit like 6 or 7 in a row. And then you got Giannis. Look, Giannis has a free driveway to the basket every single time. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's nothing they can do. Yeah. Yet still, they're fouling Westbrook. They're playing aggressive. And look at the score. And now Giannis throws a terrible turnover. And
mind you, Harden was guarding him at that point too.
Yeah.
Like he should have just dunked it on him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because we watched the 2 plays back to back, right? So
Harden played good defense in 40 seconds. Harden guarded him twice and played really good defense on him.
Yeah, but look, so here's Giannis the first time, right? He's got Covington on him. Yep. Comes down, easy layup. Why didn't he do that to get the next point? I don't know, because when we pull it forward, I'll just let it play for a second. But when they go to the next play, you're going to see the same defense. They can't stop him from doing that. But you got 2 guys here. Giannis is trying to find Korver, one of the best 3-point shooters of all time. But what this defense is designed to do is make Giannis fuck this up. Like, it's just baiting.
Yeah.
And this is like...
They're swarming. That's what they're doing.
By the textbook of basketball, everything that they're doing is fucking wrong. But it's working for whatever reason because they have these guys who they've just... It's like you said, it's a math problem. Yeah. They're solving a math problem.
Yeah. So, and to explain what the math problem is...
I'm going to go to the box scores while you talk. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, if you guys just do the normal calculation, like, if you shoot 30 shots and you make, let's say you shoot 30 shots and let's say all of your 30 shots on one side are 2-pointers, like free jump shots, layups, whatever.
2s, yeah.
Yeah, just 2s. You have to make 15 of those shots to get to 30 points, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
15 of those shots. For 3s, you have to make half of the shots to get to the amount of shots you made.
Yeah.
And for 3s, you only have to make a third of those shots to get to the shots. So what they're doing is they're shooting a ton of 3s, 60 threes a game usually, and they're just praying that they make 20. I'm shooting 60 and I'm hoping I get 20. Is what they do.
I wonder what the numbers are when they hit 20.
And then wait, time out.
Win-loss record is.
And then you have, so you go, all right, I have a bunch of good 3-point shooters, and then you have 2 of the best one-on-one players in the league right now. Yeah. You have 2 of the top 5 one-on-one players in the league right now. No one wants to guard James Harden or Russell Westbrook one-on-one by themselves. So, and you have to, like, so what they're doing is they're forcing teams to say, I'm going to double you. So then you're going to double Westbrook or Harden, and they're just going to keep kicking out. And a majority of those threes, let's say there's 60 threes put up, I want to say 40 of them are wide open threes because you're just doubling Harden and you have to give it to PJ Tucker on the corner. You know, like little shit like that. And it's just, you're going to get a good 3 all the time. And we're just praying that you make a third of them.
Yeah.
Which is not that.
I'm super interested to see what their record is when they hit 23s.
Now, if you could go to advanced stats, I don't know if advanced stats has this, but could you see second chance points for the Bucks that game? So because that matters a lot. Because think about it, they rebounded them by 30 rebounds, right?
Yeah.
So they got And how many offensive rebounds did the Bucks get? Do you have that real quick?
Offensive? Yeah, that I can get.
So they had 17 offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
And I want to see how much second chance points they got because of those offensive rebounds. And I'm pretty sure
Probably a good amount.
It was almost none, huh?
You think it was none? I think it was probably like I imagine that's.
I think when I was watching the Houston game the other day, they said that the Bucks only scored 2 points. But it might have just like.
Yeah, I don't know where I'd find that. I don't know. I don't even want to.
Is there not like advanced stats to show second chance?
There are, but the advanced stats aren't the stats you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's shooting and shit like that.
Yeah. But at least from what I remember them saying, they said that the second chance points were very low for the other team. So that's what makes it. That's why they're not killing them. Because think about it. If you get all those rebounds and then you make all of them, you're making all the second chance points you get, and then it's gonna just screw.
Well, they definitely have the best rebounding point guard of all time in Westbrook.
Westbrook?
Yeah. Definitely by the numbers. He's amazing, especially offensive rebounds. He's nasty.
More than Magic?
I mean, by the numbers, definitely, yeah.
How many rebounds does he average? I thought Magic averaged like a good 7.
Westbrook's got a couple of years now where he's got 10 rebounds averaged. I gotta find this guy.
Yeah, we gotta just click on Westbrook.
He's averaging 7 rebounds for his career. I don't know what the hell this is.
You accidentally clicked on his number.
Okay. Yeah, 3 straight years, 10. Last year in OKC, he got 11.
Wow.
He's an animal.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's good at it. He's really good at it.
So, based on just basketball knowledge, normally, even now, it's starting to make me feel like he could definitely do it. They could definitely do it. But everything that I know about basketball urges me to say hell no, because just that this doesn't last. Like the 3-point, you cannot rely on 3-point shooting throughout even Golden State. When Golden State, even with KD and stuff, you always saw that at points it just had to have the game all the way down the wire, and then you had Kevin Durant have to make usually a mid-range shot to win the game or seal the deal or some shit like that. You usually didn't see him pulling up and shooting a bunch of threes to win the game. So that's why it's just everything tells me it shouldn't happen, but just knowing Gematria in the back of my head and seeing what's happening is kind of making me have a double take and say, I don't know if this is real or not.
I think there's valid reasoning to bring it up. It's definitely ridiculous, but it's definitely you bring up good points with the Harden starting, whatever. You know what I mean?
Harden and you know Westbrook's gonna do Westbrook. Westbrook. I like Chris Paul and everything, but Chris Paul's not Russell Westbrook.
This is my fear.
It adds a whole different level of intensity to the game when you have Westbrook on the floor versus Chris Paul. Chris Paul isn't gonna attack like Westbrook is, and Westbrook is so relentless that it makes you kind of think about not guarding Harden to try to stop him a little, and then you stop.
Didn't even play this game, so it's not even my point. This is my whole thing, and it happened in both conferences at the same time. Yeah, because it happened to the Celtics in the East against LeBron.
And you want to know what I think about this?
These teams, you're gonna have to wait till I'm done talking.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Teams live by the 3, and they die by the 3, and they almost always die by the 3. The only team that hasn't died by the 3 in history is the Warriors.
Yeah,
but that's because it's not really.
But it wasn't only 3s though. That's why
about ball movement and stuff like that. Yeah, I understand that. That's my point. That's why I worry about the Rockets.
But that's why the Rockets aren't. But the Rockets aren't like that either. It is like that, but it's not, because they're at the end of games. What are they doing? They're not chucking up 3s. They're doing that. Russell Westbrook, James Harden winning the game for you.
When the game is close. That's my point. That's why they have to get to that tie score with 2 minutes to go.
And the reason that's not going to happen as often is because of what I was saying. You have to. you have to always double Harden or Russell. You cannot it before you had to double Harden and then you just let Chris Paul do whatever the hell he wanted. But you can't do that for Westbrook.
What did you? Chris Paul was like going off for them.
Yeah, but not he wasn't a consistent offensive threat.
I am not totally sure about that, but I'm gonna look that up because I don't actually think.
And another thing is, a lot of people think that the only reason Houston lost that series was because Chris Paul got injured at the end.
That's my point.
That's another thing.
I was like, I don't know why you're.
But my whole thing is the reason they were in that predicament in the first place is because Iguodala got injured. Like you can't and back to what we said before. Like we can't always blame shit on injuries because it just is part of the game. I do it all the time because to me it counts. But in this case, you had two core players on both teams get injured, so to me it doesn't affect it as much. You know,
I think the main difference between this Houston Rockets team and the Chris Paul Houston Rockets team was they didn't fully buy into the 3-point live and die thing yet because they still had big people on the floor playing with them. Like they still had Capella and stuff. This year they have bought into that mentality, and you can see it with their roster and the players. They've all bought into their roles, and that's the difference between them now and at the beginning of the season, even because they weren't bought in that yet either.
Yeah. Well, they went like with this Houston Rockets team, they mixed it up more. It usually was 2s by the basket and 3s outside, and it's still like that now. But instead, they just said this guy on the court, this big center, he can't make the 3s for me like everyone else, and he's not gonna just attack the basket like Russell and Harden, and we only need Russell and Harden to do that anyways. So I'm gonna take this guy out and just go with a good defender, add more defense to my team, and just make 3-and-D guys, and just have Russell Westbrook and James Harden going attacking the basket.
Wait, why do you think they got rid of Clint?
They got Covington for him.
Yeah, they got Covington and they got him, but they got Clint Capella because Westbrook can't shoot 3s. And you can't have that many non-shooters on the floor at one time. He's taking 4. He's making less than 1 a game.
Yeah.
For the season. This is what they saw. This is why they had to get rid of Capella, because they said, okay, as soon as we take the center off the court, Russell's our center. He comes in, he drives the paint, he crashes, he does all the stereotypical center shit, and we'll just put this guy, PJ Tucker, on the big man and pray.
Yeah.
And it works. It works. I'm not hating. It works.
Yeah.
I don't know why it works, but it works.
But but in this case, the reason like they bought into Westbrook more than they bought into Chris Paul pretty much. They said we know they're thinking we know Westbrook could help us
and he's in his prime.
And they're like he's in his prime. We know what he can do, and this motherfucker's in the way. So but with Chris Paul, they were never gonna do that because they're like Chris Paul. They don't think Chris Paul's gonna do what Russell Westbrook could do.
Yeah.
And look at Russell Westbrook is literally having his MVP year, like one of his MVP years.
Well, I'm trying to get,
and it looks like he's not even.
So Capella's last game was January 29th. So from January 31st on, I'm gonna get Westbrook's number because I know they're better. I just don't know how much better.
He's averaging like 40. Like at the end of March, I think they were saying he was averaging like 40.
So let's see. So what did I say? The 29th of January?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So 31st. And I'll bring it to...
You're going to go all the way to there. Yeah.
Yeah, 30. Field goal percentage way up. Notice how the 3s he's taking less of them. See? Because he doesn't have to. And yeah, now you're looking at 37 rebounds, 6 assists with steal. Tenacious.
It's just,
and he's the second leading scorer on his team.
It's just it's just 30. So hard. It's just so hard to see how because usually you game plan for one of them. You can't game plan for both of those guys because it's like I don't know. It's just crazy. It's the same thing. The same issue that we had with well, not the same, but because the Warriors just had so much more depth, and they had the third guy being Clay, and Clay was just fucking insane. But it's like, but it was always like, who are you gonna double, KD or Steph? Like, and then you're gonna let Clay beat you like that. But here it's just like you can't. I don't know, man. Like you can't double any of them because they're just both gonna kill you.
Harden's numbers too.
Yeah, 31.
They're pretty much
8 and 7.
the same numbers. Like they're pretty. I mean, Harden's obviously making way more threes, but in terms of the
shooting the worst. Yeah, and I know at some point Harden was having a slump too during that time. So it's just, I don't know. Like I wouldn't, like, I'm about to put 100 on Houston real quick just to see if I could, because Houston's plus 1,200 to win it all. So you could put $100 right now and just get a stimulus. Little stimmy Turner. You put 200, you get 2 of them motherfuckers.
It's Timmy Duncan.
Yeah, like
there's 2 reasons why I think that this is warranted. Number 1 is because they're making it work and they're committing to it. And number 2 is because I believe in my heart that the only way to beat this is to have an elite post game, and that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. Like Kareem is like I think the 86 Lakers would have a field day with this team. But this is the thing.
I don't know.
But wait, hold on. I got a point for this. But it would end up being a close game. You'd watch it, and just like with the Bucks game, you'd think they're kicking their ass. Yeah. But you'd look at the score, and it'd probably be close because they're just playing the game of Matt. But I think in that like because it's hard to compare the eras because of the lack of shooting. I think the same way the Rockets would double down on their strength, the 87 Lakers or the 86 Celtics for that matter would then double down on that strength and just work inside. Yeah. And just see, they would just try to beat you with efficiency. But I don't know. It's so different.
The only thing about the Lakers, both of them, the Celtics, like, I'm not saying this Houston team is the greatest team of all time. It's just the difference in it's the difference in
I think
eras.
They're in the perfect era to get away with this.
Yeah, but I just think the way you beat this team is playoff basketball, which is pretty much the pace is a little slower. You play it by possession, and we know that the Lakers, like they have the I wouldn't pick the 87 Lakers. I'd pick one of the younger ones, like
2 Lakers. Like
when you got to pick one when Kareem's like
tough.
Yeah, where he's gonna just give you the 30 and
20.
30, 40. Yeah.
You probably get 30 and 20 in this series.
Yeah, and I think you have to slow down the pace and make every possession count. And after every single miss that they have, if they shoot 63s, make 18 of them, and you get in 40-something rebounds because of it, and you have a slow pace, you're gonna win. You could win the game that way, but it just depends on how you play them. I think if you play fast pace with the Rockets team, it's
gonna be over. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just weird shit. Like I don't. If this happens, man. Just know we are doing this video and we're gonna put this out before the playoffs start.
We're gonna put this out in 2 days or less.
Yeah. It's August 7th.
Yeah.
So the playoffs is a week from now.
Yes.
And I'm saying 3 months from now, Rockets might win the championship.
False. I'm saying that's false.
Okay. I'm fine. That's fine. I don't 100% believe it. But if it happens, we better be the best podcast in the fucking world. Let y'all know it.
Blow it up.
Blow this shit up.